Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 32 of the Run in the Paint podcast. I'm Miles. I'm joined by Joey, Nick, and Jackson. Guys, how are you doing today?
Doing great, doing great. Glad to be here for episode 32.
What's up, fellas? What's up, everybody? JG, what up?
Nothing much. I had to watch the Warriors play a couple days ago. They cheated.
The Warriors cheating.
And
Dude,
we
Miles
are.
knows. Miles knows. The worst call I have ever seen. With my
It
own
was.
two eyes.
It was pretty bad.
Sure, Wembanyama went over his back. No, he's just 7'11", dude.
So in this play-in race in the
They're
Western
cheating.
Conference, of course, if you're a first-time listener, Goglin here is a big Rockets fan. And with this Rockets winning streak, Jackson is now watching every Rockets game and every Warriors game as well to, watch the standings. So we were both kind of watching the Warriors Spurs game kind of together. And the Spurs were coming back, but then there was a rough foul call and the Warriors ended up winning the game. But
with 3 seconds left, they were down 2.
it all works
They were
out for
down 1.
it works out for the Spurs tank. It works out for the Spurs tank.
No.
In the last episode, we did a breakdown on the Western Conference standings and all the teams in the mix for the postseason. In this episode, we're going to do the same thing with the Eastern Conference. It was a lot of fun last episode. Going to be the same here as we're 2 weeks away from the postseason, which is crazy. Like, it's gone by so fast.
I have a question to start this. Before we get into any specific teams, I have a question about the Eastern Conference at large in general, and I want to know opinions. I want to start with Miles, though, because I value Miles' opinion.
Screw you.
What? Okay.
Miles, I want to know, other than the Celtics,
It's that same energy.
You can give me 2 or 3 teams that you think are the most likely to win the conference that aren't the Celtics. They can give the Celtics the best run in the East. 2 or 3 teams.
Okay. Who can give the Celtics the best run?
Okay. Someone else can go.
You don't value our opinion. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
You don't value our opinion. I'm not going to give it.
I just want
to strike.
That was my way of saying I just want.
No, that's your way of saying you hate me. That's your way of saying that.
Well, I got a Rockets fan and a diehard Cavs fan, and I know Miles is a little bit impartial.
Miles is a diehard
Cavs fan. I can be
impartial.
I love the Cavs, but they're dog
And I can be
right
impartial
now.
about the East too. If I'm impartial about anything, it's the East, you clown.
No, you're not. You're gonna just ride the Knicks all the way.
Okay.
No.
Gentlemen, let's calm down. Teams that could best give the Celtics the run. I'm gonna go with the Milwaukee Bucks, which is the second seed in the East. From the beginning of the season, we were like, all right, Bucks and Celtics. This should be the Eastern Conference Finals, and a lot of people would think the Bucks could maybe give the Celtics some sort of run. Outside of the Bucks, I would have to go with I have to go with the Miami Heat. In some sense.
The Heat have been hot. They've been hot.
I have to because you can't go against the Heat. But we'll get into all these teams later. Since the path for the Heat is super difficult, I would have to go with the New York Knicks if healthy. But they have to get healthy first. Same thing with Cleveland. They would need to get healthy as well. But it's difficult for anyone to really fight with the Celtics with the way the Celtics have been playing. But I think that the Bucks and the Heat would give them the best shot.
All right, Joey, what do you think?
I agree with the Bucks. They've been playing a lot better.
Oh, here comes the Knicks hater.
Well, I'm not going to pick the Knicks because they're not healthy right now. They would have maybe a better chance if they're healthy, but I still don't put them up there. The Heat are great because they're getting hot right now, and Jimmy Butler in the playoffs is a different breed. He literally can carry and has carried the Heat team multiple times to finals appearances. I don't know. The Sixers with Embiid is very intriguing to me. Because
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Embiid is coming back this week, possibly even today when we're recording this on Tuesday. But either way, he's going to be back. He's going to get warmed up for the playoffs.
What are we doing?
I don't know. At least to give the Celtics a run, but I'm with Miles. I don't see anybody giving the Celtics any kind of run.
Oh my God.
It's almost like confirmed they're going to go.
Jackson, I know one of your teams are the Knicks. Just give me one more team that's not New York, not Boston.
Okay. First of all, New York, they have the Player of the Month on their team. I'm not going to go against no Player of the Month.
Say his name.
Okay.
Donovan Mitchell. He was also a Player of the Month.
The greatest Giants player that I've ever seen with my own two eyes, Jalen Brunson. And then I actually have a couple more teams. I don't think the Celtics are this big bad team that's going to destroy everyone. I think you guys are ruling out your own team because we've seen Donovan Mitchell. I mean, he's not going to be fully 100%, but we've seen Donovan Mitchell play out of his dang mind in the playoffs before.
Well, I mentioned Cleveland. They needed to get healthy to be in that conversation.
Because I think the nice thing, if they stay at 3, the nice thing they have right now is they're gonna have the easiest first series of any teams. They're gonna. Yeah. I think they're gonna have a little extra time to maybe get fully healthy. Like these guys are gonna come back and have a couple games where they can play.
If they hold their spot in the 3 seed, they're gonna lose in 5 to Boston.
What are you talking about? They don't play Boston first round if they're the 3 seed.
No, that's what I'm saying. In the second round.
No, they would have to play in the finals.
Or they would play in the conference finals if they're If you were the 3 seed, you wouldn't be able to play until.
So that's why I think they could. I think they could do it.
Really, Nick.
Also, I don't know why we're ruling out the Magic. The Magic are a good team.
It's
nothing.
So
nothing.
The only thing I'll say about the Magic is Jonathan Isaac is their net rating is like best in the league by some margin with him on the court. I thought I saw that.
He is elite defensively. Like defensively,
you can plug him on Tatum. They could definitely contest them with put him in at small forward, have him guard Tatum. I think he could slow Tatum down enough. Granted, there's all the other Celtics, but Drew Holiday has not looked good at all offensively this season. He's looked decent, but he hasn't looked like usual Drew Holiday.
Because they haven't needed him to. He's been one of the top 3-point shooters in the league this year. Drew Holiday.
Derek White, he's good. I'll give him that.
You got the next Jokic on that team though, KP.
Oh jeez.
All right, let me answer my own question. My 2 teams are Miami and New York.
Joey.
Bam was a bad man at the beginning of the year. And it just seems like Miami has kind of had some of the same issues I feel like the Warriors have had, with lineups and injuries and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. People were talking about how the Dubs need to figure it out with their lineups, and I feel like the Heat are kind of in that same boat. And then, I don't know, the Knicks could also be in that category, I guess. But I think the Knicks, those 2 teams, the Heat and the Knicks, have the highest net ratings over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and the East above Boston. So they've been hot recently, and I like both of those teams. In a 7-game series, I think both of them would have the best shot in the East against this Celtics team.
Getting hot at the right time is crucial.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's get into talking about each of these teams kind of individually.
Can we talk about how Joey said the Sixers, please? The Sixers? They might not even make the playoffs.
Okay, let's talk
the Heat
about.
might not even make the playoffs.
Let's talk about.
I'm being serious. Because you know who looks really hot for no reason right now? You know who looks really hot for no reason right now? The Atlanta Hawks look very hot right now. They're playing.
You know
really
whose opinion I don't value anymore? Jackson Conklin.
Okay, let's talk about the Sixers first because they do have probably the biggest news headline of this week with, as Joey mentioned, Joel Embiid returning this week from the meniscus injury.
Played so well.
This would be huge. I mean, this obviously would be huge. Jackson, no matter how you frame it, getting an MVP leading scorer in the NBA back on your team is huge. And if I'm the Boston Celtics, the number 1 team in the NBA. You've dominated all season. I would not be happy if my reward for all that was Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid in the first round.
Thank
It's not gonna happen. Not
I
gonna
don't.
happen.
I'm sorry. Like
You're taking
What? What?
you're taking a
What?
Trae Young-less Atlanta Hawks
A
over
Trae Youngless Atlanta Hawks that beat Boston 2 times in the last week.
over a MVP coming back 76ers Philly team.
Yes. 100%.
sorry, but you don't think
100%.
Boston's taking it lax right now? They're like literally 11 and a half games over first. They're literally got the first. They've had the first seed locked
Taking it
up
lax.
since. Like they're fine.
The
Hawks beating them actually means nothing. I'm sorry.
Yes,
other than giving the Hawks confidence.
How does
The
them taking it
Sixers,
lax? How is them taking it?
literally the Sixers and the Heat are guaranteed to make the playoffs.
That's adorable. So
There's
you're
no
saying
shot the Bulls or the
Boston
Hawks
Celtics,
beat
the
either of
Boston
them.
Celtics taking it laxed is them playing all their starters in both games over 35 minutes.
It's a good.
That's them taking it laxed.
Okay, let's talk about the Sixers.
I'm with Joey because
Oh, you're with Joey.
there's an aspect that you're kind of overlooking, which is the fact that these the guys who are playing for the Celtics know in their minds that they have the 1 seed locked up and they can drop a game in the fourth quarter to the Hawks.
Thank you.
They
Doesn't
dropped it
matter.
in OT.
They
lost both games by 1 and 2 points.
I'm not saying they were trying to lose, but I'm saying that Joey has a point to.
I'm not it doesn't matter about the coach not wanting the coach obviously doesn't want to lose. He wants to get 60 plus wins. He wants to do everything he can to make
I'm sure all
he
those
keeps
guys
getting
do.
contract extensions, and all the guys do. But do you think they're sitting their heads, man, if we put the Hawks, man, they are getting really hot. If they're making through the play-in, man, they're not making it through the play-in. But I want to talk about the Celtics. Or the Sixers. Sixers, sorry.
All right, there's nothing to talk about. Joel Embiid's coming back to being out over 2 months, right? 2 months.
Yes, and he's going to have a week to get ready for the playoffs.
That's not that much time.
So this stretch that they have to finish the season is honestly the best stretch you could ask for to finish the season to get him back and healthy. So
he only plays against bad teams.
They play OKC tonight as we're recording this. He may be back, he may not be. I don't think he will because he wasn't at shoot around this morning, it was reported. So after that, your final 6 games, your little trial period before the postseason, is at Miami, at Memphis, at San Antonio, then versus Detroit, Orlando, and Brooklyn. I mean, that's pretty decent, set of games to get your rhythm back. If you're Joel Embiid and the Sixers, this team was going to.
Guess what, dude? He's not going to need to get his rhythm back. He's got his rhythm. He's Joel Embiid, bro. He doesn't need to get his rhythm back. He's going to get on the court and dominate.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Miles. But he's going to get on the court and drop this. He's going to do the same stuff he was doing before he got hurt.
Playoff basketball, it's different to come back from just not playing basketball for 2 months right into playoff action. Playing
that's why
these
he
games.
has this week. That's why he has the week to play, to warm up.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It is important for him to play.
It's important. All right. So what you guys are telling me right now is that you're not worried about Donovan Mitchell coming back from injury at all, and his injury was much less.
That dude's a different player from Joel Embiid. He plays a different.
How? He's a less injury-prone player.
Donovan has a lot. His type of play is a lot more tough on your body. He's making a lot more cuts.
Because he's driving in against the big guys.
And inside center,
he's dominating the
biggest
ball.
Guy on
he's
the court.
bringing it up.
Are
he
you
is
guys
doing
dumb?
everything.
No, I'm not. No.
Okay, if Donovan Mitchell is not a more physical player than Joel Embiid, it's not more taxing on his body.
Tougher on his body.
No,
How?
Because he has to do a lot more cutting and jumping.
What about defending the biggest guy on the court every day? Who does that?
Well, Joel also he draws. I mean, his biggest part of his game is the drawing fouls, and that's
Dude.
physical contact every day.
That's true.
Yeah.
Dude.
Okay,
I don't know, man. I think the Sixers are set. I think the Sixers and the Heat, but the Sixers are set to make through the play-in easy. They like.
Joel dominates because no one can like guard him.
Yeah.
There's perimeter defenders who can stop Spida, and there's crappy perimeter defenders who can stop Spida from time to time. And if he's got a bum knee, I think that limits him more than Joel because I just think Joel's more unguardable.
Joel's injury was probably 10 times worse than Donovan's.
I don't think there's any need to compare the two players. Both are going to be affected by injuries. It'd be ignorant to say.
That's what I'm saying.
Otherwise.
You guys like saying you're not worried about Joel Embiid because it's Joel Embiid coming back from injury. Just like saying you're not worried about Donovan even a little bit because he's Donovan Mitchell. You can't say that.
I'm more worried about Donovan Mitchell coming back from injury than Joel Embiid because for me as a Cavs fan, and I am biased, I want to stay in the 3 seed as the Cavs. Embiid and the Sixers, they're in the play-in basically, pretty much guaranteed. So when Embiid comes back, he just has to get warmed up. He just needs to find his game, find his rhythm by the time the playoffs come around. Or by the time the play-in comes around. Like, it's not like they're trying to get out of that because the Sixers are 3.5 games out of 6.
Here's what I'm worried about. I'll say this. With Embiid, I'm definitely worried about like the short span of time where he has to ramp up and get into like playoff mode. I'm not worried about his effective or production on the court. He's going to come back and drop 35 and 15 in the 7-game series. Yes. Don't give me that face, Jackson. He's going to do that.
Don't say in a 7-game series because we've never seen him do that in a 7-game series.
Well,
we're not even sure if healthy Embiid can do that in a 7-game series at this point in a playoff series.
The way that he was playing at the beginning of this year, I just don't see any.
That's exactly how he played last year. Maybe not to that point, but he was close to it last year.
And he got a bad matchup with Boston.
Don't say bad match. Any good player should be able to play well in any matchup.
I mean, the Philly team he had around him, I think the Philly team he has around him.
James Harden, Tobias Harris, still had Tyrese Maxey.
Doc Rivers and James Harden obviously didn't see eye to eye. There was a lot more that was going on there that affected what happened on the court. I think you're selling him short by saying that he wasn't good in the playoffs. I think that he's going to come back and I don't think his past playoff. Never mind. Let me stop.
No, I get what you're saying. Like his past playoff history shouldn't really affect it. It does because we're talking about it. However, when they make it out of the play-in and they play the Celtics in the first round and they lose to the Celtics in the first round, when we come back and talk about it, Goglin's going to come back and say, hey, I told you Embiid can't carry his team. He can't perform in the playoffs.
Yep.
Guess what? You got Tyrese Maxey versus Drew Holiday. You got Kristaps Porzingis versus Embiid. The Celtics have a way better team than anybody else. I don't want to hear.
You just mentioned 2 non-All-Stars guarding All-Stars.
Porzingis is a former All-Star. Drew Holiday is a former All-Star and NBA champion.
Like, those are their 3 and 4. He mentioned
those are the 3 and 4 going against those. Who's going to be guarding Tatum and Brown? Like, it doesn't matter about those 2 guys, about Tyrese Maxey and Drew Holiday or Embiid and KP. Like, it literally doesn't matter. Like, no matter if Embiid does have a 35 and 15 series against Boston and they still lose, you're still going to come on here and still hate on him for absolutely no reason. Because Boston has been the best team in the entire league by miles this year. And you're not going to look at it. You're just going to look at it as Embiid can't do it in the playoffs.
I agree. That is unfair. And that's what I was trying to get to.
And that is unfair.
I feel like this year Embiid shouldn't be judged.
I told you so.
Embiid shouldn't be judged really harshly at all this year, in my opinion, for the playoffs because of this injury. his numbers may not be that great, but I mean,
Yeah.
it'll be a combination because of if they play the Celtics, because of their great defense and also his injuries. I think the injuries could definitely affect him because 2 months, it's a long time to not play basketball, and I don't care how great you are, it does take a while. He is an injury prone
Good thing for him is he's used to it.
player. I also kind of see what Jackson means with the Heat and the Sixers, and if the Pacers, if they fall down, they should make it out of the play-in. They definitely should make it out of the play-in. They should definitely be. They're going to be favored, where most of us are going to pick them to get out of the play-in. But it is a one-game scenario, and anything could happen. Anything could happen.
That is fair.
Which team do you guys want to go to next? I think we
Let's
spent
just
enough
go-
time on the Sixers.
I was gonna say let's just go right up, but that would leave the Bulls and the Hawks out. Do we want to end with the Bulls and the Hawks or go there next?
Let's just
I'm
talk
not
about the
worried
Bulls
about-
and Hawks now. Let's talk about the Bulls and Hawks now.
I mean, I already talked about the Hawks a little bit, but the Bulls, I don't see them making the playoffs. That's the one team I'm like, I don't see them winning 2 games in a row to make the playoffs because they're not hot right now. They haven't really looked that hot at all this season. You have DeMar, who's been in the playoffs before, but I mean, so
What if Kobe White drops 45?
Didn't Kobe White get benched? Like,
I thought it was because he was coming back from injury.
okay, you said if Kobe White drops 40.
It's a one game showdown. Like,
Okay, if Kobe White drops 40, then yeah, I could see them making it, but that's a huge what if.
no, I know what you're saying. Winning 2 games in a row against better opponents it shouldn't happen.
And I think the 2 games they'd have to win obviously is the Hawks,
Right.
and then I think it'd be the Sixers. And if they play the Sixers, they're not beating the Sixers because we know darn well that they don't have a center that can even come remotely close to stopping a parked car, let alone Joel Embiid. As much as I hate Joel Embiid,
Yeah.
Nikola Vucevic can't play defense. Nikola
That's
Vucevic
true.
couldn't guard me on defense. He's terrible.
I bet he could guard you.
But I mean, even like Onyeka and Clint Capella, those are 2 big men. That's why I think the Hawks are going to beat them because they don't have the big man defense.
Something the Hawks don't have going for them is just the injuries. All the
Yeah,
injuries
they don't
they're
have
dealing
health.
with. They don't have health. Like Trae Young's been out, Onyeka Okongwu's been out,
Sadiq
Sadiq Bey
Bey,
is out for the
yep.
season.
Jalen Johnson was out
Like,
for a little while.
You look at he just returned. Like you look at who they've had to start during this stretch. Like they've had DeJounte. They've had to put Bogdanovic in the starting lineup. They usually love to have him off the bench. DeAndre Hunter's been great for most of the season.
But this is why we were so high on the Hawks.
But then you also because of these injuries, they've had to play like Vit Krejci, Garrison Matthews, Bruno Fernando, rotational minutes, and in a play-in 1-game scenario, that's probably not going to win you a game.
Yeah.
Or get you to the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't see.
But those are the guys who are motivated. Those are the Heat culture guys.
Those are the Heat
Exactly.
culture. But they don't have that kind of culture in
Miles does not
Atlanta.
know Bruno Fernando like that. He's not ready for the Bruno Fernando takeover.
Man, I don't know. I just don't see the Bulls or Hawks winning any of those games. Like I see them, obviously one of them beating each other, but like I don't see either of them winning 2 games to make it into the playoffs over the Sixers or the Heat.
I'm looking at the guys you mentioned have been playing incredibly well. Like Krejci just had 18 in only 25 minutes against. Granted, it's the Bulls.
Well,
that's who they're gonna have to play is the Bulls.
Well, yeah, they're playing well, but in a 1-game postseason winner go home thing, they're going to be scouted for. They're going to be absolutely like game planned for in this situation. It's different than regular season.
Yeah,
I don't think you're ready for a possible Bogdanovic takeover either.
Well, Bogdanovic is really good.
Yeah, when it comes down to like the rotational play, like what you were saying, Miles, like the Heat and the Sixers have a way better rotation. They have the better coaches. Like it's just for me, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to the coaching, the lineups. Like Nick Nurse has been there, done that. Eric Spoelstra has been there, done that for decades now. Like no one's beating that kind of experience. Especially when it comes to play-ins, and when it is like what you said, a one-game series. When it comes down to like a one-game series, coaching is huge.
Yeah, but Nick Nurse doesn't have a playoff killer like he had with Kawhi and even Siakam in those playoffs.
I mean, you don't need a playoff killer to win one game.
And Quinn Snyder, he's been there. He's been to the playoffs plenty of times. He knows what he's doing too.
I would definitely pick the Sixers over the Hawks.
I would definitely pick Nick Nurse over Quinn Snyder.
Without
sorry.
a question.
I like Quinn Snyder. I liked him, but
I'd give the Sixers the advantage with coaching, rotations, defense. Their scoring options. I'd give them the advantage everywhere.
I don't know about defense.
I do know about defense. The Hawks have been very disappointing defensively.
Well, that's their one player. That's their shooting guard.
Johnson?
DeAndre Hunter's a great defender. Jalen Johnson's a good defender. And he's going to be healthy. He's going to have this little week to prepare, too. He'll be ready. Clint Capella, he's pretty good at defense.
Let's talk about the team with the number 2 defensive rating over the last 3 or 4 weeks in the East. That's the Miami Heat.
Okay.
I agree.
Second best defense in the conference over the last couple weeks here.
Can the Heat do it again?
Coach Spo magic.
What do you guys think?
Strike. Well, you heard what I said.
I think they'll make the playoffs.
I think them and the Knicks have the best 2 shots
other
than Boston. So yeah, I think they'll be there, and I think they have a better shot than the Sixers to win a first-round playoff matchup.
I don't think they beat Milwaukee at all.
I think they can beat Milwaukee.
That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one.
Really?
I think they could. I don't think they will.
I don't see it at all. Miami's not the usual sleeper that they've been.
The rotation
haven't passed.
We've said that many times.
Listen, their rotation is way worse this year.
I mean, Jaime Hero, Bam, Jimmy.
Terry Rozier, Kyle Lowry. Or no, Kyle Lowry's not there. He's in Philly.
Scary Terry. You got K-Love still there.
The Heat are definitely better than last year. They are definitely deeper.
So?
Yeah. Yes.
I got deep. Like they have a deeper rotation and everything.
Yeah.
Is Hero gonna play for them in the playoffs? Is he supposed to play?
If he's not, they were able to deal with that a bit last year.
Dude, I had to deal with it this year too.
Duncan Robinson.
Oh yeah.
They got Thomas Bryant. They got Thomas Bryant, who's been playing pretty good minutes for them.
But
when Bam's been out,
dude, I've changed my mind about the Bucks. I don't see a team that can beat. I think I didn't mention them when we were talking earlier, but I think they're a team that has a very good chance to beat the Celtics.
That's crazy because for me the jury is out on Milwaukee still.
Yeah.
How is that crazy?
I'm just saying. I just told you why the jury's out for me on Milwaukee. I don't agree. I think that I can't get a read on them. I don't know what's convincing you.
They have any single series. They know they have at least the first and the third best player in that series. Maybe even first and second in a lot of series. Because I think Giannis is the best in any series they go in. Even I don't see a team in the East that has a player right now that I'm more confident in the playoffs than the Bucks. Maybe Jimmy. Maybe.
I was about to say Jimmy Butler, man.
No, you're making a good point.
You know, that's a good point. The Bucks have
Jimmy's what, 35? Jimmy's 30. He's 34, 35. Eventually, he's gonna have to. I feel like this could be a year he slows down.
Well, the Bucks. You're right. The Bucks are gonna have the best and second best player in any series in the East.
I think besides Boston, I think Tatum would be the second best player in that series.
Oh no, I meant from like a first option and second option for their team standpoint.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely
like Dame is the second best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
second best
Brooks,
second option.
They're not going to need Brooks to do a crazy amount on offense. They're just going to need him to play good defense. He's played good defense. He hasn't played great defense. He's played actually I'll say decent defense this year. Chris Middleton has shown in the playoffs that he can be a good third option. Beasley is the perfect fourth option on this team because I think he's a guy, like, if you plug someone on him, he's a bucket. He can still get you points. Like, he's going to be the guy, like, if they were to play Miami. Like, what are the matchups looking like if they play Miami? You'd put Giannis on Bam.
No, I'd
Actually,
probably put Brooke on Bam. Brooke on Bam.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Giannis on Jimmy then.
Who do you put on Giannis? Well, I forget.
No, but they don't
should go.
have a Giannis stopper.
Who did they have on him last year? I don't remember the matchups. Because I know they were starting Kevin Love.
Wasn't it PJ? Oh no, wait.
No, he wasn't on that. No, he's not on that team. Caleb
He
Martin.
was on the different team. I'm dumb. It was what? It had to have been Jimmy or Caleb Martin.
Yeah.
You guys keep talking. I'm gonna look this up right now, actually.
So the Bucks have the second best points in the paint over the last couple weeks as well in the East, only behind Chicago, and it's Chicago, Milwaukee, Miami.
And if a team, because going into this, we got to think of scouting. They're gonna scout them as like a team that's gonna attack the paint. So they're gonna try. Any team they play is gonna have to double Giannis, which leaves or double Dame or try. You can't double both, so one of them is gonna go off. And then when you double Giannis, he's got 4 shooters around him.
Yeah.
Every single person that's starting lineup can shoot.
So
and Bobby Portis can.
Looking at last year, at least for the start of games, they would put Bam on Giannis, and have Kevin Love guarding Brook Lopez.
I don't mind that matchup.
That's not bad. Bam's very versatile as a defender, and not bad as a perimeter defender.
So what you put Jimmy on Dame then?
I would even put like Caleb Martin too.
Caleb Martin's getting destroyed by Damian Lillard.
I might put Rozier on Damian Lillard.
Yeah, he's getting destroyed too, but it's probably best option.
He's been a good at least a better irritant, type of defender since being with Miami.
But they don't have a guy that can, because playoff Dame is a thing. He took that Trailblazers team.
Yeah, man, but Miami just gets it done.
You want to know what my thing with Miami versus Milwaukee, if that's what's going to happen? Coaching.
What?
I don't know how I feel about Doc Rivers with the Bucks right now. I'm with Nick on that, because I just don't know how it fits, because even since the All-Star break, they've gotten a little better, but it's been very iffy, and they have had injuries. So I understand that. However, Spoelstra, been there, done that. They're always the underdog. It's that Heat culture. It's that Spoelstra culture. Pat Riley, they just get it done. It's hard to go against Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. It's hard to go against the Heat in the playoffs. It really is.
The Bucks were 8-6 in the last month. 8-6.
8-6. That's not great. That's good, but it's not great.
My thing
if Giannis has to win a playoff series, he's gonna win a playoff series by himself too.
Look, here's my thing with the Heat and the whole underdog thing. Because of everything, last year, their run last year, they're not underdogs anymore.
No, they're not.
They're not underdogs anymore. Everyone knows what they did last year. Everyone knows that they have the capability to do it this year. They may not be favored, but it's not going to be like if this is the series, it won't be like, oh, Milwaukee's just going to run by Miami because they're the higher seed. No, like Miami, they're not going to be doubted on the potential to make the run. I think that with the Bucks Heat, if the Bucks Heat series is a thing, who would guard Jimmy? That's the main worry that I would have with Milwaukee, because I know Drew Holiday got torched by Jimmy in games 4 and 5, but that's still Drew Holiday's one of the best defensive options you could have to guard Jimmy Butler, and the Bucks just don't have that this year.
I just thought of this. They could even toy around with lineups where they could put Giannis at the 3, move Beasley to the bench, move Middleton to the 2, or even if they want, bring Middleton off the bench and put Bobby Portis in that starting lineup. I think that would give them a better matchup in round 1, because then you could put Giannis on Jimmy, and then Bobby Portis could guard. Or you could put Brooke on Bam, and then I don't even know who's the 4. I don't even know.
It'd be Portis. You know, that is how they beat the Heat in 2021 when they the year they won the championship. They swept the Heat. They got PJ Tucker mid-season, and they had him starting alongside Lopez. Giannis was at the 3, Middleton.
I love PJ Tucker.
Poor PJ Tucker isn't getting minutes in LA.
Yeah. For the Milwaukee Bucks, you guys, I want each of you guys to answer this question. Who is the Bucks X factor in this series? Like, who's their X factor? They're in the playoffs, excuse me.
I would say Chris Middleton. Middleton or Portis?
I would say either Chris Middleton or Malik Beasley, because if Malik Beasley gets hot from 3, he could completely change the game. Same with Chris Middleton. If he gets hot as the third option, it completely changes the game. You can't double Giannis. You can't double Dame.
Right.
I don't think it's a player. I think it's Doc Rivers.
Oh.
I'm just.
Oh, yeah, that's perfectly fair.
If he can coach even he doesn't even have to fully, he doesn't have to put on a coaching masterclass, because this team around him is good. He's got 2 proven playoff guys that are leaders, that are vets, that can do enough to win them a bunch of games. Exactly.
He just needs to be decent.
Not even 2. They have multiple. They have so many playoff performers.
Well, yeah, Milwaukee's the oldest team in the NBA. Their depth may be a little bit of a question.
I would agree.
But they can shorten the rotation.
They can shorten their rotation if they need to.
Yeah,
I think they have the same amount of depth. I think as Miami, maybe not as crazy depth. That's not gonna affect them that as bad in that series though.
Potentially. I mean, when you look at the bench units for both of those teams, Milwaukee's is what? Pat Beverly, Pat Connaughton, Jay Crowder, and Portis. Now Portis, one of the best bench players in the league.
Yeah.
But overall, he's really carrying the bench unit. And then when you look at the Heat, it would be a mixture of, a Hawkins, Martin, Duncan Robinson, Thomas Bryant, DeLon Wright, Patty Mills. Like, they both have. Well, the Heat definitely, I think, have the edge on the bench.
The Heat have.
It's not as crazy of it.
I was gonna say the Heat have more depth as they can play more players. They don't have to shorten the rotation, and they still have. But if the Bucks shortening the rotation on the bench, they probably have the same skill level. I would say.
Yeah.
That's how I. So it's almost like skill over amount, like quality over quantity.
You also got to think, going into this game, the Bucks are going to have an extra couple days of rest. It might only be an extra couple, but it's extra rest.
That's helping, yeah, especially with the old guys on that team.
Yeah, true.
Old people. Underrated Jimmy Stopper.
All right, so let's predict just the play in the bottom 8. I'll go Hawks over Bulls, Heat over Sixers, Sixers over Hawks.
I would also agree with that. Probably exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean it's hard because of the we just don't know how good Joel Embiid's going to be when he comes back.
I do. Give me Hawks over Bulls, Heat over Sixers, Hawks over Sixers. Bada bing, bada boom.
I'm gonna go with the Bulls over the Hawks.
Okay, you're just a hater at this point.
And then
you can't pick him as a hater. Stop.
I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
And then what?
You want to be different so bad.
No, and then the Sixers beat the Bulls.
All right.
Yeah.
Even though the Vucevic and Drummond wouldn't stop Embiid, they have the big bodies to defend in the play-in.
The Raptors have lost 13 in a row.
Yes,
yeah,
the Raptors.
There's a reason we're not going to talk about them.
Oh boy. That's tragic.
You guys want to talk about the Pacers?
Let's talk about the Pacers.
Pacers, second half of the season, not as impressive as their first half run. Unlike the Orlando Magic, they kind of had the fall off.
Well, it stems from their best player.
I was about to
had a
say,
fall
talk
off.
about the one player who had a real bad fall off, who was an MVP candidate the first
it's
2 months of the
it's
year.
That injury, man. That injury killed him.
It did.
You can tell when he plays. Like he doesn't play the same.
Well, look, there's a possibility that the Pacers could fall to the play-in as well. Like that's not out of the realm of possibilities as well. They're only a game ahead of the Heat.
Yeah.
Who the Pacers and Heat do play in Indiana later on to close out the season.
Because there's no way that they had all this ready. Like, oh yeah, let's have the Rockets and Warriors face. So we as one of their last games. Let's have the Pacers and Heat.
The
Yeah,
Pacers.
thanks, Adam
No.
Silver, you freaking jerk.
This was
You
all
freaking
planned.
jerk, Adam Silver. I hate Adam Silver. What a guy.
I love the script, but
Wow.
but yeah. What do you guys think about the Pacers? Do you think they could give any team that gets into the 3 spot, or do you think they could give any team a run in the postseason?
Well, they got the Cavs number this year, don't they? Is a season split.
Kinda. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the Pacers have it 2-1, but their 2 wins were both in like the first 2 weeks of the season when we were injured, so it's hard.
And when Halliburton was MVP.
Right.
I don't think if the Cavs drop, if the Knicks move up, if the Cavs stay and the Knicks don't move, I don't think either.
Even if
I don't think either team is.
If the Pacers fall to the play-in, I think they also just like they can make it out of the play-in, but I don't see them being any playoff team.
Okay.
If they play the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell, like we said, Mobley's been playing better. Jared Allen's been playing pretty well the second half of the year. Like, I don't know. I don't see the Pacers beating them, and definitely not the Knicks. If even the Knicks get to the 3 seed, the Pacers don't stand a chance. I think it's I think either of those games could go to like a gentleman's sweep in 5 games.
Yeah, I think that the Pacers, and we'll probably get to the Magic next. I think those are the 2 teams this year that are like, all right, this is our taste of the playoffs. We're happy to be here,
right,
to get the experience.
Yeah.
And then a series win would be incredible, icing on the cake, but probably unlikely.
With those young
They're what
teams,
we think OKC is gonna be. Nobody's ready for OKC in the playoffs.
That's the thing, like with the Pacers, the Thunder too, the Magic. It's like Thunder are very different from those 2 teams because all year they've been very consistent. They can make a run. I just don't see them making it to the finals. Talked about that last episode.
Yeah.
But at least for the Pacers and Magic, hey man, just getting your feet wet. Your young teams. You got some young stars on that team. You're starting to put it a little together to make a run to the playoffs. Just getting that little bit of experience. I think Rick Carlisle for the Pacers is a great coach. I was a huge fan of him when he was in Dallas. Like he took that team to beat the Big 3. So yeah, well, I think they've got a good coach for the future to help this team, but I think this year is just not it.
I think Rick Carlisle deserves a lot of credit for being able to adapt to each different era. Like with the Mavericks in that slower paced era to now the Pacers being one of the fastest offensive minded teams.
Oh yeah, he's just gone with it. He knows his players, he knows their strengths, and he plays right to it.
Look, the Pacers. Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
I was just gonna say I kind of got to back up on my claim because the Pacers are 12-8 since the break with a 5.4 net rating, and before the break they were 29-24 with a 0.5 net rating. So they're playing better since the break.
Yeah, they haven't really fallen off that much. Like, if we're being honest, the whole Eastern Conference has had a pretty rough second half of the season.
Yeah.
That's why, like, when we get to all these teams, like the Bucks, the Cavaliers, it's not like they've played that great the second half of the season. Same with the Knicks. But specific.
The Sixers.
But no, like,
the Sixers.
But specifically with like the Bucks, the Cavs, and the Knicks, who we'll get to later, like they all haven't really played that great the second half of the season, and they're still basically like they're going to be 2, 3, and 4 probably, and they haven't been that great.
I'm looking at like the standings and like even the last 10 games. When you go from 10 all the way to 2, It's Bucks 6-4, Cavs 4-6, Knicks 7-3, Magic 7-3, Pacers and Heat 6-4, Sixers and Bulls 4-6, Hawks 6-4. It's just been brutal.
No team has just been like on fire.
That's like every team except like the Mavericks right now, who have been pretty hot.
Yeah, but the Pacers, like I'm curious to see how the Pacers style will translate into the playoffs, especially if they go against a Knicks or a Cavs, where both of those teams like to play at slower paces. The Pacers are just a run and gun, speedy team. Like seeing those two speeds collide would be fun.
Oh yes, if they dominate the pace of the game, they could definitely make it interesting. I just don't see it happening, especially when it comes to playoffs, where it always seems defense always ramps up and everything will just slow down automatically.
Yeah, but that could also be in their favor. The defense ramping up, because we could see their defense also ramp up.
True, I like the whole season, like I was saying, they're just like a fast-paced team. They do better when they're fast-paced.
Yeah,
this is true.
No question. And the Pacers, something that they may not have going for them is we finish the season is that they have the least amount of games remaining out of all these teams. Other teams they have 7 games left. The Pacers only have 6 games to go, and it's a 1-game difference. But it's an obvious statement, but you can't make up games that you can't play or that you already played.
That's true.
So them only being a game up on the Heat for 7. It's gonna come down to the final few games of the season. They finished with the Cavs and the Hawks to finish out the season. So,
to be fair, also with the less games, getting any kind of rest you can after a long season, that helps out too.
Yeah, very, very true.
Even if they do drop down to the play, and you get just that extra day or two of rest when the other teams don't have it.
Yeah,
that's key. That's key.
Let's talk about the Orlando Magic.
Orlando Magic.
Oh.
The Magic.
They're not doing jack diddly.
Now, look,
earlier when I said
we've grouped the Magic and the Pacers kind of, but the Magic do still have a shot at getting the 3 seed, which is incredible. They're only a game behind the Cavaliers for the 3rd seed. So this team could get the number 3 seed, and I think that's the Magic's only chance of maybe winning a series, because a Magic Pacers first round, that's another one where we'd see 2, because the Magic they've had similar seasons, but they play completely different styles of play, or on
really
offense
funny,
and defense.
Actually. I'd laugh.
Oh yeah.
Jalen Suggs guarding Tyrese Halliburton would be a lot of fun.
Jalen Suggs is a defensive masterclass.
So Basketball Reference has the Magic with a 15.5% chance to get the 3 seed right now. They have a 27% chance to get the 4 seed, and then their highest is a 34% chance at their current spot, which is the 5 spot.
Yeah, that's fair. The Magic, 5 of their final 7 games are on the road, and they're a very good home team. They're not the best road team, but they're still kind of solid. But they have their final 4 games of the season are at Houston, who they could potentially still be fighting for the play-in tournament, depending on the marquee Warriors-Rockets game this Thursday. At Houston, at Milwaukee, at Philly, and they finish at home against Milwaukee. So they play the Bucks twice, the Sixers, and have to play a desperate Rockets team. So not an easy finish to the season for the Magic.
They're desperate.
They are kind of desperate.
They're desperate. They're playing for their lives.
They really are.
Thursday we won't. Wait, Thursday or Tuesday?
Thursday.
Well, come Thursday we won't be desperate anymore. We'll be like,
you're still 2 games out of the Warriors right now. You need them to lose.
Potentially 3 games after tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when they keep cheating, it's impossible. Sorry.
But that means you're still desperate. That's what I'm saying. But no, Magic have been great this year. I've been loving it. This year.
Just a side note, obviously the Pacers and the Heat and the Sixers could still switch places too, like they can hop up.
Yeah.
As we already said that.
Yeah, for sure. They could all change places. What team do you guys want to go to next?
Cavs.
All right, let's talk about the Cavs. They just finished up a rough month of March.
9-13 since the All-Star break.
It has been
Get my
rough.
losses out now.
They've been it's just been a rough season and month of injuries once again. It's just been a rough time for injuries. But this team, when healthy, is still dangerous on both ends of the floor. But I think for them, it all comes down to health.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, then
Makes
why were
sense,
they
yeah.
so good before when they weren't healthy?
Yeah.
Because
Why were
Donovan?
they 18-0?
because
Donovan.
18-2, whatever it was.
because Donovan Mitchell was playing and he's clearly their most valuable player. I mean, it's definitely a difference when he's not 100% compared to when he's healthy with a bunch of like Darius Garland and Jared Allen out. Like there's a huge difference. There's no
Yeah.
other way around it.
Well, hopefully he can get back on the court sometime soon because the Cavs obviously need him.
I think they need a defensive-minded sharpshooter. That's what they need.
Max Strus.
Someone
Strus.
someone with a great basketball mind. Someone like
Max
Nick
Strus.
Kovacs.
Nick
Sign him up.
Kovacs.
Nick
Sign him
Kovacs.
up.
That's who they need.
I don't know. I Cavs make me so bad. Like, I know it's because they're not healthy and stuff, and Donovan
Imagine getting mad
Mitchell.
at your own team.
It doesn't. The good thing about being a fan with a brain knows that you just don't have
Alright.
blind allegiance
All right.
to your team, even if they're playing bad. You want them to be better. I'm not
one
gonna
more
stop.
stray over here. See what happens.
I'm not
See what
gonna.
happens. That's
I'm
what I
not
say.
gonna applaud them for playing bad. I'm not gonna give them full-on excuses for playing bad because, like we did say, like Nick said, they were 18-2 when Garland and Mobley were out. But when Mitchell's out and Mobley's out, it's a completely different game.
Dean Wade has
Before,
been
yeah,
out.
we're
Max
talking
Strus
about-
has also been
Bruce
out.
has also been out. Yeah, the injuries have been piling up, and once they get healthy, that's how I'm like. As much as I want to be mad at the Cavs and I want to talk so much crap about them,
Do it.
it's
My
that's my
thing-
plan. I want them to be better.
With this
What's on
Cavs
your
team,
mind?
it's always been the same thing. It's just there's not enough like superstardom versatility, I guess, to like
Yeah.
compete with those high level teams like Boston, New York, and
hmm
Miami. Even I still think all those three teams are higher than the Cavs, but
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's the same problem it's always been. And they tried to address it with the 3-point shooting this year. It's just too much overlap between Donovan and Garland and Mobley and Allen. Those four, I mean, Mobley and Allen aren't versatile enough to complement each other well enough to where the Cavs where the Cavs can like be very, very good. Like, and they tried to address it by getting those guys in there. Like, they're giving obviously Sam Merrill a lot of time. George Niang they signed Max Strus, but I think the problem persists, and the potential and the ceiling is just like a 4 seed, a 3 seed.
It's good enough to make it maybe to the second round, but probably not much further than that. Because I couldn't agree more with that. Because like when you had like, first off, yeah, those guys overlap too much, and hey, it works for some games, it doesn't work for others. But when you come to the playoffs and a 7-game series, you need consistency, and you just won't get that with those 4 guys, especially all on the court. You want all your best players to be on the court at the same time, especially in the playoffs. And when they're out there, it's just there's always one guy.
Yuck.
It's always just, to me, just not good to watch. It's always a pick and roll, and then Garland sitting in the corner, and they've got 2 guys sitting in the corner, Mobley or someone else, whoever's not doing the pick and roll, just standing at the post. And it's always like 3 guys standing around, 2 guys just moving. When you look, even if you look at the Warriors, constant motion with everybody. You look at any other team, or all these teams with the many great players, like the Celtics. There's always something. Everything's moving.
What makes those guys
frustrating to watch.
They're great players off the ball as well.
Yeah.
And I just think Donovan and Darius aren't great off the ball.
That's why I have a problem with JV Bickerstaff, because he just hasn't figured it out. I love Bickerstaff for what he's done, and he's gotten us relevant again, gotten us playoff contending. He's done great for what he has. But if we're stagnant now, this is what you expect: 3, 4 seed, 5 seed, second round hopefuls, conference finals, like a miracle. But
Yeah.
as much as I don't want to let JB go because he's done great, I don't know if I can be like a consistent playoff team that just always gets knocked out. You never have that championship hope.
Yeah, the Cavs definitely have decisions. They're going to have tough decisions to make this summer because, like you said, like they're not at their best when their best players are on the floor, and that's really what their main issue is. I mean, besides the injuries, which the injuries, like, I wouldn't say that they are excuses. I think they're legitimate reasons to why. Because, like, especially even when looking at Donovan Mitchell, like he's returned for 4 games, and you can see his knee thing is still bothering him. In the 4 games he's been back, he's averaging around 13 points per game, 29% from the field, 33% from 3. More than half of his shots are threes. He's only taken 12 2-point attempts in the 4 games, and half of those shots have been blocked. Like, you see the injury, it clearly has, hindered him. And I think that it all just comes down to if Donovan Mitchell isn't healthy, this team is not going to really have a chance to make much noise in the playoffs. But if he is healthy, they're going to have a chance because when he's healthy, he's one of the most fun players to watch because he could just be so explosive offensively, and this team's defense is, elite as well.
Mm-hmm.
They have all the things really that you could ask for with a playoff team besides, maybe the coaching. The coaching is it's hard to really put their coaching up against the other teams.
Yeah, I think we talked about the Cavs a lot, but their main issue is that, like you said it perfectly, when their best players are on the court, they're not their most effective team.
Yeah, for sure. Luckily for them this year, they have a lot more depth than they did last year. Like, just looking back at last year, the players that JB Bickerstaff could play in the playoffs, like on the bench, there's like, when you look back, it's like Jetty Osman, who's on the bench for the Spurs, the worst team in the West. Ricky Rubio out of the league. Howell Neto out of the league. Robin Lopez out of the league. Danny Green out of the league. Like, he just didn't have guys he could trust. This year he does have that. But whether or not it will be enough, we will find out soon enough.
Comes down to Donovan Mitchell. As it always does.
I mean,
exactly.
I think they're a sleeper team. I don't like.
They can be for sure because they have everything.
I could see them making it out of the East for the finals. I might be the only one here that thinks that, but
No, I think there's 4 teams that have a better chance of doing that.
I think there's a lot of teams.
I don't think so.
The weird thing with the Cavs is they can match up with all these teams. It's just whether or not they can
match up
them.
with every other team, other than Boston. Even then, Boston doesn't have
the bigs aren't versatile enough.
Yeah,
they don't do enough good things.
Yeah. I guess.
I also just based off of what I've seen, when both of the bigs are healthy, still getting out rebounded like we did last year against the Knicks. And
if we could trade Jared Allen and Evan Mobley for like Sabonis, or like have one big and trade and just have 2 guys that stretch the floor instead.
Both of them.
Well, you know what I'm saying, like. A better fit rather than having both of them would be to have one super dominant big and stretch the floor with Sam Merrill and Dean Wade and Max Strus in the lineup and Karis LeVert, and have the 2 guards, a really good big, and then 2 Dean Wade, 2 Max Strus, 2 Karis LeVerts.
I think Sabonis would be good for this team, but I don't think there's any way they can make that happen.
I would rather
trade Allen.
I would rather trade one of the bigs for maybe a star wing, like a 3.
That's what I've been.
That's what I want. Like, I need versatility on the wing because we're always flip flopping. We're always having Strus, Okoro, and Okoro's been great and has been doing much better this year. Same with Max Strus. He's been fantastic.
And Karras.
Karras has been a great sixth man for us. But when it comes to, like, if we had such, like, a star wing, that would change everything, in my opinion.
Yeah, and
I
with the Dean Wade injury, Marcus Morris has suddenly become a lot more important to the Cavaliers.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna play big minutes in the postseason.
Beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
If a center isn't playable, if you can't play the two bigs this year, you can throw in a Morris who has playoff experience, Niang who can shoot. But I think we've talked enough about the Cavaliers. A lot of stuff to say about us because of the Cavs fans.
Sabonis would be perfect.
It was expected that we would. That would be nuts.
To go next to everyone, dude. Sabonis would actually be amazing.
I would just
you need a guy who's not going to get out rebounded. Evan Mobley can help him with his defense.
There's only like three guys that I would put in Sabonis' category. It's like Sabonis, AD, Bam.
Same.
Any of those guys would obviously do wonders for the Cavs. And Jokic.
No, one more.
Alfie.
Alfie.
Darn it. I was hoping we'd get by.
I had to.
Any of those guys would serve the role much better than Jared Allen and Evan Mobley are currently doing.
Agreed.
But that's wishful thinking, obviously.
Yeah. Expected for us to talk about the Cavs a lot. Sorry, viewers and listeners.
All right, New York Knicks. Let's talk about the New York Knicks.
All right, I'll be quiet because I don't want Goggman just to yell at me for being a hater.
No, go ahead.
Similar to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
No.
I think it's the deepest team in the East.
Oh,
I think they're the best team in the East.
They're the deepest.
They're the team I have more confidence in anybody.
I was saying similar to the Cavs, where they've had to deal with a lot of injuries to key players.
Yeah.
This season. I get similar how to the Donovan Mitchell with the Cavaliers. For the Knicks, OG Anunoby has to be healthy in order for me to take them as potentially getting out of the East.
Dude, I don't even if OG gets
healthy. Does he have to be healthy?
I think it's a lock to get out of the East. A lock. But
does he have to be healthy for the first round win?
No.
Depends on who they play.
No.
Probably not. If they play the Magic or the Pacers.
Dude, even I think it's a lock that they get out of the East if he comes back. But I think, or like if
I don't think it's a lock.
Healthy. But I think even if he's not healthy, this team is so deep without him. Like, they have other guys that can step up and play defense. Josh Hart has looked amazing. Josh Hart is the perfect playoff player. The perfect playoff player.
Josh Hart, yeah.
Yep, I can't disagree.
He's someone who can play 48 minutes a night.
He has.
Exactly.
Deuce McBride,
another one. That's even if he comes off the bench, which honestly at this point, I don't want Julius to come back. That's just evident. I think Julius ruined everything that they've worked towards with his stupid ISO ball. But I think if OG comes back, I think they should play him at the 4. I think here's how their lineup should go. 1, Brunson, McBride 2. Depending on matchups, of course, obviously. At the 3, put Hart, 4, OG, and at the 5, put Mitchell Robinson. I think that lineup right there is the lineup you're going to match up best with the Boston Celtics. No doubt.
I'd keep Hartenstein in the starting lineup for now because he's been playing great.
The double bigs? Oh, you're saying yeah. But I'm saying by then, by the time they play Boston, Mitchell Robinson will be ready. Or even just by the time playoffs run around, I think Mitchell Robinson will be back to full Mitchell Robinson things. Just literally owning the offensive glass.
Talking about the Bucks being one of the oldest teams, the Knicks are one of the youngest. They have only 2 guys who are older than 27, being Julius and Bogey. Everyone else is under 27.
Alec Burks.
Alec Burks has to be.
Oh, 91, yeah. 3 guys.
He is not 91.
Oh, and Josh Hart.
Born in the year 91.
He is older than 91.
I think Josh Hart.
Shut up.
Josh Hart's also 29. Everyone else is younger, though.
You silly goose. No, they're gonna get McCown next year. It's fine.
They have a young squad though. Like all of their good players are in their prime years.
Now they're
There's a freaking freak Julius.
see. I think the Knicks at points can get very stagnant offensively, and that's where I would probably worry.
When they bring in the leprechaun, Dante DiVincenzo.
He can be lights out. If we were talking about the X factor earlier for like the Bucks, I think DiVincenzo's like an X factor for the Knicks.
I think it's DiVincenzo and Deuce.
I think if DiVincenzo gets hot, especially what you're saying, Miles, with the points, if DiVincenzo comes in and hits like 3 threes, it's over. Because then everybody else gets open. You can't leave DiVincenzo, and you can't double Jalen. You can't load up on the inside. It's brutal. It's brutal out there.
I think obviously as Cavs fans, I'd be terrified to play them right now, just because they're. When you're talking about out rebounding, the Knicks can out rebound. I mean, Josh Hart's the best rebounding 3-to-1 to small forward, shooting guard, or point guard in the league. It's just evident at this point. I think they can out rebound any team, which rebounds in the playoffs, that's another huge thing. You gotta be able to grab those rebounds. I mean, you saw it last year, Cavs Knicks.
That's what the Knicks destroyed the Cavs with.
But then it was kind of the opposite for the Heat series. They got to be able to do it for more than just the first round.
Which they can, because the addition, I'm telling you, the addition of Josh Hart and even OG's a decent rebounder. Like, they didn't even have Hartenstein last year.
I was going to say, and Hartenstein.
They have so many more rebounders now. I think
they had Hartenstein and Hart last year.
Did they have Hartenstein?
I guess they did for the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I'm saying now, Josh Hart and Hartenstein have like elevated into these huge, like not huge roles. Actually, they are huge roles.
Yeah.
Last year, neither of them weren't even like. We probably wouldn't even have been talking about them that much last year.
Now Josh Hart's yanking chains.
Hey man.
I love Josh Hart. He's a Chelsea fan. I'm
so excited to see Donovan in those orange colors next year when they trade Julius for him.
God, I'm gonna throw up right now. I don't know if I'm gonna put him, if they're healthy, as a lock to come out of the East for my prediction.
No, not fully healthy. Not fully healthy. Fully healthy minus Julius.
Sorry.
That's not even a joke. That's like literally. That's not even a joke.
No, I know it's not.
I think if Julius comes back, it ruins everything for them.
I think
he makes their offense so unbearable to watch sometimes.
But I think if they're healthy,
he thinks he's the system.
If they're fully healthy, excluding Julius Randle, even with Julius Randle.
Nope.
I see them making it to the Eastern Conference Finals against Boston. As much as I want to hate on the Knicks, I can see them making an Eastern Conference Finals because they are the deepest team. They have Tibbs, who's a decent coach. Like, they got all the players that they need. Jalen Brunson's a superstar. Mitchell Robinson coming back, if he's back to how he is, it's a tower in the middle. You can't get by.
Yeah,
Joey, where am I on your screen?
What?
Where am I on your screen? Like which corner?
Bottom left.
Wait, I gotta think about this.
What?
Oh. Come on.
That's literally the opposite. You had it right before.
Oh.
New York basketball.
There we go.
See, why did you do it before then?
Because I didn't know what you were doing. I thought you were just going like this, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
No, talking about my favorite Eastern Conference team, man.
And you called me a hater. I'm unbiased.
Nick called us both haters, Joey. Remember that?
That's true.
Let's finish with the Boston Celtics.
There's not much to be said. They're good.
Yeah,
They're
we
good
kind of talked.
The
best we talked about the Bucks.
The Boston Celtics.
The
I
Bucks
know,
and
but
Celtics.
Nick was asking, do we do Bucks or Celtics? I'm like, we kind of already did.
Oh, no,
talking
we already,
about
yeah,
the
we
Bucks.
already,
We've been talking
we
about
I
the
already,
already
Bucks
gave
all
a
day.
TED talk on the Bucks.
yeah, we already did the Bucks.
Bro, the
Mr.
Celtics
Doc.
defensive rating, or I'm sorry, their net rating is miles ahead of anybody. Like, you look at the net ratings over the entire year, it's it's Boston at like 12.5, and then the next best team is at like 6.5, and everyone else is below that.
Who's the next best team? Is it Minnesota?
Probably OKC
I have to make sure all my filters are
or
off.
Denver. I'm not sure.
It is OKC. It's 11.7 for Boston, OKC at 7.3, Minnesota at 6.4, and then everyone else is under 5.
Yeah.
OKC's wow.
But Boston's at
Look,
11.7.
Look, Boston. So I went back and looked. So they are currently
Oh, here we
11.
go.
They're 11 and a half games ahead of second place Milwaukee. They're probably going to finish with a double-digit lead over everyone else. Especially 6 of their final 7 games are at home. They have an easy schedule the rest of the way. The last time that we had a double-digit lead between first and second place was 2015.
No, it wasn't even the Warriors.
2015 with the Warriors and an 11-game lead over the Houston Rockets.
Oh, 15, was that 15-16?
No, 14-15.
Oh.
And then
Their
before
first finals
then before that it was 2012, 2013 with the Heat over the New York Knicks. The year that the Heat won the 27 in a row.
Yep.
Me and my team is mentioned.
But yeah, man, the Boston Celtics, they obviously dominate all season, but as we said, as they've tried to, get their way to the finish line of the regular season, they've dropped and blown some large leads as of late.
Atlanta.
Cleveland, yes, a 30-point loss to Atlanta, 22-point loss to Cleveland in the fourth quarter.
Wait, they didn't lose by 30. They blew a 30-point lead.
Yeah, blowing a 30-point lead, yeah. Are you guys worried at all about some of the things that the Celtics have been doing with their lack of continuity, lineups in those situations?
Yeah. Me personally, I don't think their depth is I think their depth might be one of the worst out of the top 8.
Yeah, that's been the thing with them all year. Is their depth. But I'm not worried because they're so top heavy that I made the case already, the net rating thing. Those guys are so top heavy that I don't think it's going to matter too much. My biggest question mark with them has been what it always is, and it's how does their decision making affect them in the fourth quarter when the game slows down, and are we finding the right shot on every possession? Because that's gonna. In a close game, that's what has to happen. Are we gonna find the right shot in every possession? And Boston has shown they haven't shown the capability to do that consistently yet. So
that's why I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't think Boston's gonna be as dominant in the playoffs as we think. They play way too much ISO ball.
So in the fourth quarter,
way too much.
Everyone's pace drops down in the fourth quarter, but theirs is the lowest in the league in the fourth quarter. It's at 93.52. The Cavs are the second lowest in the fourth quarter.
If teams defensively don't double the Celtics in the clutch and just go straight up one-on-one, the Celtics they usually don't get great shots out of it. It's usually a Tatum or Brown isolation, and it's going to be a step-back 3. It's going to be a pull-up mid-range. It's going to be a terrible driving shot.
I hate it.
But when you double them, that's what kickstarts the ball movement. They've been great moving the ball all season and getting open shots. But that's only been in the first, 3 quarters of games. When it gets to the fourth quarter, there are many, many instances of them losing games because of their just countless, ISO ball. Their ISO ball in the fourth quarter, as you said.
And that's what they're going to try and do in the playoffs.
The playbook is out there for any team to make a run against the Celtics. Try to keep it as close as you can for 3 quarters. Come to the fourth quarter, you got yourself a chance.
For sure.
It's just about keeping it close for the first 3 quarters.
Even though Boston, they do still have the highest net rating in the fourth quarter in the entire league, but it's not at 11.7. It's at 5.0.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the numbers can sometimes be deceiving. For sure. In that sense, because when watching we see that it gets very stagnant in the fourth quarter.
I like what Joey said. Just keep it close.
Yeah, the playbook
You're
is
gonna
out
have
there.
a chance.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to have to do. And look, with both the East and the Western Conference, I don't think there are any breezes of any series at all. Like that's not going to be a cakewalk for any of these teams. Like I said before, the Celtics dominant all season, and their reward could be Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, or the defending Eastern Conference champions with playoff Jimmy again. Like it's not going to be a cakewalk.
No,
Jimmy Butler.
I think you're gonna, like I think I was saying it earlier. It's like you might get a gentleman's sweep, but there's not. I don't see many actual sweeps happening this year, at least in the East, and honestly in the West too. We talked about it last week, but or last episode, but it's gonna, dude, playoffs. I couldn't be more excited. I couldn't be more excited.
I cannot wait, man. You guys got anything else with these Eastern Conference teams?
No.
Thanks for tuning in, fans.
No, I think we should do our draft today.
How long have
we've been going for an hour and 16 minutes, Jackson. We can save drafts for later.
You guys are sick. You know that?
No one's going to listen to.
There's a lot to talk about.
It's 2 hours.
We got to talk about Mask Mitchell.
Mask Mitchell, yes.
But no, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a comment with your thoughts on all these Eastern Conference teams. Leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Check out the Instagram and Spotify. Links are in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next one.
Peace.